Welcome, everyone, to That Kind of Nerds podcast, a weekly show where we break down what's going on in the nerdy world. I am CJ Mellon, joined, of course, by Joshua Burns and Brian Thornton. How are you guys, gentlemen? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. That was a...
You don't like my...
It gets weirder by the week, I think. There's this wrestling tag team called the Vaudevillains, and they come out to all this like old-timey pomp and circumstance. And that's kind of what it felt like for a minute there.
Well, speaking of pomp and circumstance, I do want to take a quick moment, and I want to tell the fine people listening about the wonderful service that is Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box for geeks and gamers and comic book lovers and pulp culture aficionados. Every month, subscribers receive a mystery box full of collectibles, figurines, apparel, and memorabilia. Each box contains at least $45 in value, and many of the items are actually exclusive for Loot Crate. So each crate has a theme centered around major franchises and theatrical releases and events. You have until the 19th of every month to subscribe for that crate, and then it's gone forever. This month, the boys got the Power one, and it had like Dragon Ball Z and the Hulk. I mean, my question for my follow-up is, did Brian ruin it for you, Josh? Because you were worried about it.
No. Brian did not spoil the Loot Crate. He did say, as soon as you get it, hit me up because I squeed super hard. And as soon as I opened it up, I went, and Finley got a pot holder?
That's what I did. Yeah. And then I immediately said, I need to cook something.
Right.
I don't know what or how to cook, but I need to use
I'm
this.
not even I'm not even using the microwave anymore. I'm reheating everything in the oven.
just for
because I have
it's the 1950s.
I have an Infinity
Chinese
Gauntlet
food.
pot holder, like a glove thing.
Yeah.
Oven mitt.
I got that. I squeed over that pretty hard. I also there's this little Dragon Ball Z little hangy thing with the dragon on it.
Yeah, keychain.
Huh?
Keychain.
Yeah. I can't use this as a keychain.
It's Enron. What's his name?
I think it's Shenron, not Enron. That's the company with like insider trading stuff.
Well, right. But had they not gotten caught, that's what they would have leveled up to.
Yes.
That
once
dragon.
they collected all the Dragon Balls,
Right.
they would have become Shenron.
Right. Exactly right. And here's the crazy thing. I give that to Zoe, and she's so excited. No idea what Dragon Ball Z is, and then I tell her. That's Shenron, it's Dragon Ball Z. I said, Christian, you'd probably love this. And I show him the book and I show him he's like, so it's like Pokemon? And I'm like,
no,
it's
no.
Not, well, in the principle of leveling up after battling, it kind of is. So I go look, I'm like, all right, we can probably watch these. And the appropriate way to watch them is Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to load up Dragon Ball, and then I remember this is all subtitles. Zoe can't read this fast.
I have the entire Dragon Ball Z series dubbed on DVD if you want to borrow them.
No, I cannot. I don't have a DVD player. I don't know even how I would.
You have a Blu-ray player.
Nope.
You have an Xbox.
Not hooked up.
You literally just do streaming. You don't do any hard disk at all?
No. I unplugged my Xbox months ago.
My brain hurts.
Why? What do you need? I buy as soon as it comes out for it's on iTunes before it's out on Blu-ray.
They look cool on my shelf.
I don't have a shelf, man. I don't have a palatial
You need to get
estate.
a shelf.
I don't.
You need to get a shelf and look at how cool they look on your shelf.
There's no place to put a shelf. I don't have a giant palatial estate with very few cats to screw up my shelves of DVDs.
Is CJ back?
I'm back.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Sorry about that. My microphone cable decided that it wants to take a shit today, so I had to go find a mini USB cable, which is tough to find.
No, you just find where the old phones are in the drawer, and then
my dad's like,
in that same drawer, there's a mini USB cable.
He was like, "Is it the one I used to charge my GPS?"
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, give me that cable. It's like a foot. So
Did he give you the one that goes into the cigarette lighter? It's just this doesn't help you at all.
it's just no. Remember, my dad was an engineer. He knows what I need.
The reason CJ was gone so long is because he had to splice that wire and hook up.
He pulled the car up to the window. He's running the car.
Hook up a USB end. You know what's funny? Speaking of like pulling the car up, Laura was saying earlier that she's like, "Oh, we can go to the drive-in next weekend and see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles."
Oh,
and I'm like, "Hey, that's not a bad idea." And she goes, "How do you even watch a movie at a drive-in?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She has never been to a drive-in.
What?
And she's like, "What? How do you even see it?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? It's big as the
your
world
eyes
in front of you. It's the biggest screen you've ever seen in your entire life."
Yeah.
You're 100 feet away from this giant, 200 feet from this giant monstrous screen. Of course you can see it. Well, how do you hear it? I'm like, you tune to a radio station. It's like the oldest technology in the world. Well, how would the kids see it? And I'm like, the same way they see what's in front of us. It's just, you're just there.
Is she under the impression, are you all blind once you enter a drive-in theater?
She goes, would you open up the trunk and have them sit in there? And I'm like, then how would we see it?
I take an air mattress, I blow it up in front of the car, about 5 blankets, and I put that in front of my car, and I sit with a radio. It's the best. I don't stay in the car.
That sounds like the worst. It sounds
like awesome.
It sounds like you're sitting on stones in a half-inflated air mattress.
No, it's good.
Like we used to have a buddy's dad with a truck, so we would just...
Well, Josh, I mean, he's really used to sleeping on hard rock ground when he was training with MK Ultra. I'm sure they made him do that all the time.
MK Ultra, they put you on the hardest of concrete, like cobblestone. Sleep on this cobblestone, and then you can endure anything. When we activate you, you'll be good to
You'll be able to endure. You'll endure all these American culture references that you don't get. So, listen, since we're back, we're talking about movies. Let's do this. Brian has, again, masterfully put together the June blockbuster.
Never has anything that I've done been described as masterfully.
Put it on your resume. You would now have proof in audio format.
As you will see from my resume.
All right. So Brian put together the June blockbuster to talk about the big movies that are coming to the theaters the month of June. So Brian, why don't you take it away? Let's start the list here.
All right. I'm going to start the list, but I'm going to skip some because I know we don't have anything to say about Me Before You.
I have something to say about Me Before You.
Okay. All right. Well, Me Before You, starring Emilia Clarke of Daenerys Targaryen fame, and Sam Claflin, who was in the Hunger Games, Catching Fire.
Fennec.
Yes, he was Fennec. Romantic comedy comes out June 3rd. Josh, what do you have to say about this?
Oh, Emilia Clarke, she's got the brightest smile I've ever seen. That's really all. I have nothing else to say about it other than...
That's all you wanted to say.
First of all, you're so used to seeing her as a blonde that when you see her as a brunette, just looks like the girl next door and has the brightest smile you've ever seen.
She's got the Jim Carrey eyebrows, too.
It is captivating. And... I'm not going to see the movie, obviously, but I just wanted
enough for me to do a ticket.
I needed to put that out there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it has been put out into the ether for everyone to hear. But the same day, something that I know we're all excited for is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows comes out June 3rd.
I just rewatched the original, the remake, I should say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, the remake, yeah.
The remake, right. The part 1, essentially. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And I realized I actually like this movie more than I thought I did, so now I'm even more excited to see the second one because I think
didn't
this
like that
great.
movie?
I enjoyed that first one.
No, more than I thought I did. I was like, oh, you know what? I like this movie, and I like it more than I thought I initially did.
I mean, it wasn't as good as the very first one.
No. I don't think it's fair to compare any Ninja Turtle movie to the first.
No, how do you put my childhood on a screen? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's how.
Right, exactly. You can't. That's just how you do it.
So all I heard is that CJ one day was not a cynical jerk and decided to watch the first Turtles movie.
That's exactly what happened.
That is the takeaway. That's exactly what happened.
Christian is super excited because of Sheamus of WWE fame as
Bebop?
I don't know. Bebop, maybe?
I think he's Bebop.
Either way, Christian's super excited. I will see this. Probably not in the drive-in, but I will see it. It looks interesting. I mean,
This is probably a drive-in movie for me.
As sequels go, the problem, CJ, with drive-in is these kids they've become accustomed to recliner chairs.
That's right, yes.
How do I get them to? No, I can't. So
you can do it.
No, I don't think so. Maybe we'll try it.
I mean, I love the drive-in, but for stuff with like heavy special effects like this movie, I want to see it in digital HD in the theater.
The sound.
Exactly. All the sounds, all the I want to be in that experience. So I will probably be seeing this opening night and then maybe a second viewing at the drive-in, depending on what else is playing with it.
You take Chinese food in to see Me Before You, and after dinner you go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I will not admit to ever doing that, Josh. I don't know what you're talking about. Moving on, because June 3rd, actually, another movie that I know we're all excited to see comes out. Yeah. Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Oh my God. I've heard a few, whether it was like on the radio, I've heard a few people say this name. And every time they say Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, they chuckle like idiots. So I
just muted my mic.
Yeah, absolutely. You chuckle like an idiot just saying it. I've watched the trailers. It looks hilarious. And from what I understand, there's a few bands that have recorded with The Lonely Island to make this soundtrack.
Yeah.
Including, I believe, Adam Levine from Maroon 5.
Indeed, yes.
I'm just saying. There's a hologram of him on a hologram.
So expensive.
It's very expensive. I think this is going to be hilarious. This is going to be I mean, there's two comedies I'm pretty excited for this summer. This is one of them. CJ, you haven't really weighed in on
I am definitely seeing this movie on the 3rd. I mean, this is something I want to see right away. Every trailer has gotten better and better, and so much so that I don't think we've seen the funniest parts. I think the funniest parts are still in the movie.
I agree.
In this day and age, that is a hard thing to do for a comedy.
I think if you think about like Andy Samberg, The Lonely Island in general, it's what's funny about their stuff is all the quiet, the nods and the nuances. That's the stuff that's hilarious.
And then the things that they tie together. And I've heard that some of the songs are really the star of the show, and they're hilarious.
There was a song in this trailer that
the Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa.
You're the original basic bitch.
Yeah, I just lost it. I'm like, wow. I'm really excited for this movie.
Yep.
So I will definitely be seeing that and Turtles that weekend. And then next week, there's a couple things that I'm pretty excited about coming out. Well, this first one, not so
there's
much.
one thing, right?
Yeah, there's one thing.
There's one thing I'm excited. I'm sorry. One thing I'm excited about.
We can skip right past Warcraft. We all kind of agree that's going to be dog shit, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we can skip right past Warcraft. I know you guys talked about it with Jeff.
June 10th, Warcraft. Don't see it. No one is. Okay, good. That's it. Warcraft. That's the review.
I have to intro this movie, Brian. Now You See Me 2. This sequel I've been waiting for since the end of the first movie. It didn't get great reviews. There's people that I don't like Now You See Me. I loved Now You See Me. Mm-hmm. For a bunch of different reasons, the probably the least of which, the cast is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But the story was great, the way it tied together. When you go back and you look for all the little bits and pieces, they're all there.
Yep.
This, I really like. I think this movie could be a franchise that goes past the sequel. I hope this is fantastic. I can't wait to see it. And the addition of Daniel Radcliffe.
He's a wizard.
And that's the thing. Like when you see it in the
and Lizzie Kaplan, but Daniel Radcliffe especially. She he's phenomenal. She's great. But Harry Potter is in a movie about magic.
And what's great is when you see him in the teaser that we first saw, and we talked about it when it came out, he looks like just like a bit throwaway piece. He just makes a cameo. No, the guy's like legitimately part of the story.
Doesn't he show up like ta-da? Or,
he like screws up some card.
He screws up a magic trick and then goes ta-da. It's so fucking great. They listen. They play on the fact that he's Daniel Radcliffe and he's Harry Potter and he's in a magic movie, and they do it beautifully,
which makes you think he's going to be pretty badass like they're going to hide it, maybe play it down.
Absolutely.
But he'll be badass. Jesse Eisenberg in these trailers.
This is to me the equivalent of the Kingsman, right? Because it kind of flew under a lot of people's radar, and then like
Brian's
you saw
like,
it,
I was just going to say that.
I literally was just about to say that.
Yeah, I beat you to it.
So I mean, when it came out 2 years ago, this was definitely like the sleeper hit. This was something that like no one expected, and it was really good and really solid. And I highly enjoyed this movie. The only complaint I have about the sequel is I feel like we completely missed the ball by not naming it Now You Don't. Just saying.
Why don't? Maybe there's a plan for more movies in the series, and the last one can be Now You Don't.
Well, but I don't know. Maybe
who cares? They can name this like the Fast and Furious movies. Who gives a shit? The movies.
Yeah, if this goes 7, 8, 9 movies, I'd be fine.
They'll be doing dumb names, and I'm okay with that.
Well, it's awesome because it's got all the cool magic stuff, but it's like an Ocean's 11 type script.
The next one's called Sleight of Hand. I don't care. Just make more of these. I want to see more of these.
Yeah, now you see me Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know what happened to Isla Fisher.
So she actually almost died during the filming of the first Now You See Me. And she was like, I'm not. Now I heard like she's like an announcer or something. Like they do some kind of handoff.
So yeah, so I'm fine if she doesn't. She's not. They're not rewriting her, which I liked. So they're not the Henley Reeves or whatever her name was. It's not Lizzie Kaplan's character. Completely different. Also, Lizzie Kaplan, gorgeous.
Yep.
But every time I watch the trailer, I'm more excited for this flick.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I see it.
I think that's our go-to movie for that weekend. I was going to skip over Conjuring 2, which also comes out June 10th, unless anybody has anything to say about it.
Oh no, you can skip directly over that.
Okay, we're gonna skip right past the Conjuring 2, and go to June 17th. We have Finding Dory coming out, sequel to Finding Nemo, which I know is going to get a crap ton of money. I mean, out of all the Pixar movies, I'm probably going to get stoned for saying this. Finding Nemo's not my favorite.
Hard pass.
But I mean, I'll see it.
I'm going to see this.
I'll be forced to see it.
I do want to point out one thing that, and unless you change this, Brian, as Brian got down towards the bottom of the list for the list of movies, the naming of cast members just got lower and lower. For Finding Dory, you just have Ellen DeGeneres and Albert Brooks, and that's it.
Well,
that's it.
This just... Look, I'll take.
Listen. You have to see the movie because Josh, you have kids. You have kids. You're gonna have to see this movie.
Nope, I won't. Laura
at some point.
I know Laura will take them when it hits the Dollar Theater, when it hits the Emmaus Theater. Laura will. I'm not going to see this movie.
I will.
Can I
hate this movie.
Can I ask why? Do you just not like Joy?
Hated Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Didn't like it. Not thought it was dumb. Hated it.
We've
discussed this.
I think we've discussed this
on the podcast. I hated it, and I'll take any Pixar movie. Cars 2, loved it. Hate this movie.
It's okay.
Okay. Well, moving on because I don't want more hate coming out of Josh's mouth.
Hate.
I don't know. He may hate this movie. I'm not sure.
June 17th. Central Intelligence, which is the other comedy I'm actually pretty excited for, starring Dwayne Johnson,
Kevin Hart, Aaron Paul, Give me some.
There you go.
So good. Not CGI Fate.
Not $13. Give me some. But iTunes, give me some.
I got comp tickets today for my movie experience, so I'm using them for this movie.
I think it looks hilarious. I think Dwayne Johnson can be so funny.
He's on point.
He's on point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like during those trailers where he's just like, hey, I have a plan. Cool. He's like, no, not cool. It's like, cool. Okay, I got this. He just does whatever he wants anyway. I think it's going to be hilarious.
What's funny is that the character is sort of, that guy in high school that was everybody's friend, right? Everyone's friend. And liked or not liked for real, he was probably the nicest guy in the world. And he's still the nicest guy in the world, but it's on this whole other scale, right? So I have a friend like this. This guy was everybody. He was just the friendliest dude in the world, right? And now he is a West Baltimore cop and probably not everybody's friend, but still like the nicest dude. Like, listen, so here's what I need you to do. Put the guns down and drop the drugs on the street because that's the right thing to do. And that's kind of what I see in this character and why it's so funny. Like Brian said, it's like, oh no, this is the plan. We're going to do it. Let's go.
It looks so good. I cannot wait. The funny thing too was the social like media aspect for this movie. While they were filming, like The Rock would be doing a Vine or an Instagram, and then Kevin Hart would come behind him doing another Vine and Instagram, making fun of the fact that The Rock is doing one, and they would just yell at each other back and forth. And if that chemistry is happening off camera, I can only imagine what's happening on camera.
From all reports, and not just like, you know, he's a super celebrity, and Dwayne Johnson is a super celebrity. He's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone from, you know, his WWE days to the stuff, the Fast and Furious movies, stuff he's done with HBO, everybody loves this guy.
So, Brian, let's move on to the June 24th. What's next?
I'm about to. Independence Day Resurgence comes out June 24th and not July 4th for some reason.
Right.
Which makes no sense to me.
Right.
I mean, this looks like just pure popcorn.
You
crap
missed
blows up movie.
an opportunity.
They did, you mean?
To release the movie.
Right, yeah.
For the July weekend.
I don't know why.
Unless you had control over the release schedule of this movie. You did
Bunch of idiots.
I have no idea. I mean, again, I'm going to go see it.
Nope.
Eventually. It's nothing I'm going to rush out to the theater to see.
This is a drive-in movie.
Yeah, I could totally do this at the drive-in. In fact, I think I saw the first Independence Day at the drive-in as well.
Yeah, I definitely did.
I'm pretty sure. So,
and that movie was amazing.
Yes.
So, yes, they'll have Will Smith's son as a character. Yes, you have Jeff Goldblum. Hopefully,
Bill Pullman too.
Yeah, I don't care about him. How am I missing the father's name? I just lost it.
Oh.
Judd Hirsch.
Yes.
No, not Judd
He
Hirsch.
is in it.
Yeah?
The father, he is in it. And you're right, Judd Hirsch.
Yeah, all right. So I'm okay. So that was a big part of the last movie for me, and I'm happy that dynamic continues. I just don't see what's the point. It'd be like at this point, or in a few years, making a sequel to Armageddon. That's what this is for me.
I'm hoping that this is something that if this goes okay, and I'm not saying great, I'm just saying like okay that they didn't lose money, that they make another one and Will Smith is somehow alive, like his death has been faked and he's back, and that kind of is a reason to go see the third one.
I want to be very clear. I was in no way encouraging anyone to make an Armageddon sequel.
I was going to say,
if I see an Armageddon sequel, I will not be happy.
Well, now I'm intrigued. If they make an Armageddon sequel, can they this time train astronauts to be the drillers?
Right.
What we'll find out is that the whole time Bruce Willis was actually just cruising around out there.
It's actually he's about to die, and the whole thing was just a dream on his hospital bed.
He was actually a ghost in his granddaughter's bedroom.
Wow.
The whole time. And now that I've said that, we have this McConaughey piece of shit coming out also on the 24th.
Wow.
I kind of like this movie.
You're not into the historical dramas, huh?
I'm not into Matthew McConaughey at any cost.
Free Stated Jones, June 24th. Matthew McConaughey looks really good.
It's
the hardest of passes.
This is nothing I would rush to the theater to see. This is something my dad and I would go see if I lived
exactly.
June. By and large,
bad movie.
Complete dog shit.
Yep.
Just June is super disappointing. I mean, there's a few movies in here, a couple that you're like, yeah, I'm really excited. Now You See Me Too. Think about summer movies. Not one of these is what you'd hope for in a blockbuster. Not one.
I feel like it's because they knew that, again, that Finding Dory was coming out, and they're like, well, I mean, it's a Disney Pixar movie. It's a sequel to one of the biggest Disney Pixar movies. Bury the bad stuff in there or the mediocre stuff.
Nobody cares.
I agree.
A lot of people actually do care.
A lot of people care about this, though.
A lot of people care about Finding Dory.
How is that possible?
It made it's actually one of Pixar's highest grossing movies.
I heard from somebody that movies are made for Joe Public and really
they absolutely are. But this
is a Joe Public movie. This is literally the definition of a Joe Public movie.
I disagree with you.
This is the Joe Public. Out of all the sequels that are on the list of stuff that we've talked about, this is the sequel most people want.
Listen, last June, first week, the two movies that were highly touted were Spy and Entourage. Both movies decent. Entourage, if you hadn't seen the series, you were screwed. June 12th last year, Jurassic World. So that's okay. That's pretty big. June 19th last year, Inside Out. June 26th, Ted 2. Couple other small ones.
June isn't usually a huge month in the summer. It's all about May and August.
2015 was relatively ridiculous throughout the entire summer. If the following Terminator Genesis the following week, a couple weeks later you had Minions. I mean, the whole summer seemed like it was pretty well packed, and I am very I'm disappointed with the way this summer's movies are shaping up based on June.
Well, I mean, you've got 3 of them in there that you're excited for. That's one a week.
Yeah.
Right, but
and last year we were saying, "Oh my god, Jurassic World looks so great."
You think Finding Dory will be bigger than Inside Out?
Yes.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think it should be.
Well, I'll tell you what. We will have our movie fantasy league to decide whether or not that's correct. We'll see if you guys back that up with your movie fantasy league.
I probably will.
I will. It's a smart economic move.
Speaking of which, if there's not, is there another movie, Brian?
No, that is it for June. So
can we since we're here and we all have to be honest at this point, can we talk quickly about our movie fantasy league?
Yeah, could you set up this though? Because we've never talked about this on the show. Could you tell the people what
First
we're talking
of all,
about?
I never agreed to being honest. I lie all the time.
Well, you've already made your picks, right? They're locked in.
Oh yeah, they're locked in.
All right. So we're gonna do movie fantasy league, and I will intro it, CJ. Are you guys ready to talk about this?
I do. I've got it on there.
Go for it.
Brian, you got your app up?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
All right. So one thing that I've been talking about really since these boys have known me is fantasy sports, fantasy football, fantasy everything, year round. I'm fantasy sports. This year, Brian and I also joined a fantasy Game of Thrones league, which is very interesting, and you score based on violence and nudity and status, and I'm a big winner and everybody else sucks at this game. Brian, am I lying or am I doubling everybody else's score?
You're spanking everybody else right now.
And it's going to remain that way all season long. So CJ found something so cool, and he went ahead and signed us up as it's that kind of nerd league at fantasymovieleague.com. And basically, the premise of this is you and your friends basically own a movie theater, 8 screens. And you select what movies to show on those screens, and the box office dollars decide who wins. And that's pretty awesome. So you have CJ, who's, fairly creative. The Not So Fantastic Four is his theater's name. Brian, not at all. Didn't change it from the default B.A. Thornton 160 Cineplex.
Wow.
And I am X-Men Polychronopolis.
Which I love.
Now I gotta change my name.
I'm glad you love it. So we are going to talk about, and each of us defend our movie selections to show on our 8 screens for the week. Brian, you somehow only selected 4 movies.
Well, no, because you only get $1,000 to spend.
Okay, so
and you
Brian
have to spend
went
it.
X-Men Apocalypse at $735.
Yeah, that cost me $735.
$735. He went Civil War at $154. By the way, you have $1,000 budget. I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
$735 for X-Men, $154 for Civil War, $100 for Grown Ups 2, and $11.
You mean Neighbors 2?
Neighbors 2, sorry. Neighbors 2, $100, and The Darkness for $11. CJ, with not so Fantastic Four. CJ also went X-Men Apocalypse and Civil War, but also managed to somehow work in 6 other movies, Brian.
How the hell did you do that?
Because I don't know how to do this the right way, obviously, too. And I picked 4 crummy movies.
Oh.
So he didn't get Neighbors 2 in
which
there.
I didn't even see in there when I went to go get it, or I would have put it on there.
Which cost a pretty penny. I went with 4 screens.
Wait, did you read the rest of my movies?
Well, they all suck. Did I need to?
Fine. No.
Well, hang on.
Nice Guys.
I did.
Nice Guys is a good movie. Movie Monsters is a good movie.
In fact, I did see Nice Guys, and it was quite enjoyable.
Okay. I'm glad it's my number 8 screen. I have 4 screens of Captain America: Civil War, which basically means all the revenue that movie generates on Memorial Day weekend, I will get times 4. I have Neighbors 2 on 3 screens, and I have Nice Guys on the last screen. I am going to absolutely
demolish,
murder.
Now,
Brian has a real good shot with X-Men, except every screen he left blank deducts $2 million from his box office total.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, read the rules, dipshit.
I didn't realize it. My bad.
So I have a very good chance of coming
I
in for
set
number
my
2
box
because I've
office
got
while
that
waiting
as
for
well.
my haircut, okay?
Yeah,
I had to
okay.
do it on the website, which is very clunky. The app is so much better.
Yeah, I use the app. The app's pretty solid. And the reason we're bringing this up is this is something that all of you out there listening can do really quickly with your friends, with your family. It's a fun thing every week that'll keep you connected. Look, one of the reasons that I absolutely love fantasy football is that it keeps me connected with some of the guys that I grew up with, that have been friends with me for, 17 years. And if not for fantasy football, you drift apart a little bit. This keeps us in touch all year long. This league is something that everyone can do
Every day, every week of the year.
Every week of the year, because there's always new movies coming out. I'm actually really happy CJ found this and excited to see. Hopefully we can add some people to the league.
I was just about to say, if this pans out with us, if we find this to be fun before we say, hey, everybody, we will eventually open up that kind of nerd league for the fans too. So we'll tell you how to get involved with this. This was really cool. This is also sponsored by ESPN. If I read this correctly, they have their hands in this too. This looks like so much fun. And I'm so excited to have everyone come along to listen to our picks and then maybe give us some suggestions, You can root for one of us there. You can hit us up on Twitter individually or email us. And I would love, some help. Looks like Brian just needs help reading the rules. So if someone wants to read to him, I know he'll probably appreciate that. Afterwards, he'll go shopping with Apple products after breakfast.
With That's Apple true. Products?
With 4. With
and 4. Yes.
I can't. Now that I understand the rules, I can't wait till I spank you next week.
Brian's like, I will take my superior knowledge of the movie industry coupled with my decades of experience at Blockbuster Video and started working there when he was 4.
And my many shelves of the movie.
Late fees are built into this, Brian.
He started working there when he was 4. He stopped when he was 24.
Close. It was my first job, my very first job, actually.
Bang didn't have anything to say about the movie industry. But,
I have.
So X-Men Days of Future Past in 2014 launched with a something like 110 million 3-day opening, and I'm thinking my 4 screens of Captain America will beat that.
We'll see. I don't know.
I think you put. I think more people are going to see X-Men this week. I saw X-Men.
I think as much as I love Cap, I think most people who want to see it have seen it, and whoever does see it over Memorial Day weekend are going to be the people who are like, "Well, X-Men sold out, so let's go see Cap again."
I think you're
or at Josh's theater where there is no X-Men, and you have to just see Cap.
I think you're underestimating the patriotic pull of a Captain America movie.
Well, you know what? We're going to see next week.
We'll report the results. But CJ, you did see X-Men, didn't you?
I did.
Do you want to talk about that for a second?
We
didn't give anyone any spoiler opportunities. So.
I'm not giving anyone any spoiler opportunities.
We're not asking you to spoil. Neither of us have. Brian, have you seen it?
I saw it last night.
Of course you did. I haven't seen it. Not sure when I'm going to see it.
Not asking for spoilers. I'm just asking for your overall.
Yeah, overall opinion.
I liked it. There's a couple things that I didn't like, but overall enjoyed the movie.
Okay. I was a little disappointed.
Of course you were a little, and I feel like I'm going to be disappointed.
You will be.
Was a little disappointed. Not gonna lie.
I came in with a low bar. That's why I liked it.
That being said, the movie is
my
good.
theory. Okay, ahead.
The movie is good.
Yes.
It is a fine movie.
Yes.
It is definitely not.
Is it a dandy?
It is dandy. It is definitely not top 3 X-Men movies.
No,
and
correct.
it's
ooh,
no,
definitely
seriously,
not in my top 3. It's
that.
maybe like ranks about 4 or 5 in as far as all the X-Men movies.
First Class, followed by Days of Future Past, followed by what?
X-Men
X2.
X2.
First Class.
You put X2 the number 1?
Yes.
Ugh.
X2 is amazing.
Meh.
Anyway.
Either way, X2 is definitely in the top three.
I will say
First
this.
Class.
I feel that this movie is finally, they're done with this reset crap. And
Like
the
Deadpool, I'm
next
very
movie's gonna be great.
confused by the Jean-Luc Picard and
the timelines. That's one of my complaints.
McAvoy timeline.
Yeah, that's. One of
they're
my
nowhere
complaints, though.
near right. They're not even close.
It's
so much so that what they could have done was actually rebooted where, you know, the original X-Men were like they're supposed to be, but they didn't. It's not Torch and Beast and Iceman and Jean. We're back to this Jean Grey being a little girl thing again. But
yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about the movie in detail next week.
Will we?
We will.
You want to do that?
I think we will.
I'll try.
I'm not saying like a whole hour. I don't think it's a whole spoiler cast, but we will talk about it with spoilers.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
I would like to move on to this. Netflix will have an exclusive streaming rights with Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar movies in September.
Yep.
That's
Awesome.
a huge deal.
Hallelujah.
Huge deal.
Well, not hallelujah. That's a coup. That's a coup for the streaming world.
It really is. They cornered like half the movie market by doing
Which is
that.
Stuff that you
Wonderful.
can't get. I mean, you can't. I mean, Disney's Disney's movies aren't even available for sale as often as you'd like to see. Like they take them away and then re-release. It's ridiculous. Are they? Do we know that they're going to have the whole catalog?
I don't think they're gonna have. I don't know what they're gonna have to start off with.
So right now it doesn't break down exactly the list.
I just want to be able to stream Sword in the Stone any chance I get. Like every time I want to stream Sword in the Stone, I need to be able to stream the Sword in the Stone.
You know what
Because
would help you with that?
It's the best of all of those Disney movies.
Owning it physically.
No. I don't have a DVD player. I don't have a DVD. We just covered this.
You need to just plug in your Xbox. God.
No, it's disconnected.
Here's the biggest takeaway. This is something that I think you people heard, but I don't think processed correctly.
When you say you people, do you mean Italians? What are you saying?
Damn it, you exposed me. No Amazon Prime, no cable channels like Starz or HBO or Showtime will have Netflix. Will have Marvel, Star Wars, or Pixar movies. This is huge.
You
It's
skip Disney.
only Netflix
You skip Disney.
and Disney. I'm sorry.
No, you can't. That can't be
sorry.
the.
You can't just
footnote.
sweep it under the rug.
Fine.
You have to lead with Disney.
Fine. Here we go.
No, you're done. You've already screwed it up.
I think what you heard was I want a lot of bacon and eggs, but what I said was
Give me all of the
Give me
bacon and
all
eggs that you have.
yes.
I'm worried that what you heard was I want a lot of bacon and eggs.
Right.
God, I love Ron Swanson.
So this is
And
gigantic.
now I have to rewatch Parks and Rec.
You're welcome. And this deal allegedly has cost Netflix a cool $300 million.
They have a $5 billion programming budget.
Oh
don't
yeah,
they?
yes.
So listen, this cost them nothing.
Yep.
If less than 10% of my overall budget gets me the latest films from Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar. It does say the latest. It doesn't say Sword in the Stone or Lady and the Tramp, and I'm already a little sad inside.
You never know.
But the latest films, I'd say we'd all take. Like imagine movies like Civil War hitting Netflix the same time it hits Blu-ray. There'd be no reason to have a shelf at all of any kind.
I disagree with you, sir, but okay.
So this is a game changer, and I can't wait to see what comes down the pipeline and what that does. Because Josh, you're right. Movies with Disney, just like you said, they release it and then they say, "Oh, it's back in the vault," and then never again for another 10 years.
I can't
it's
buy
actually
the Sword in the Stone if I want to buy the sword. It's not just not available. You just can't get it.
It's actually an actual rotation, CJ. It's like once every 3 years. They
Do you
release
have
it.
to
Listen, it doesn't need to be like
It
fucking
feels like
Hailey's
30
Comet,
years.
for God's sake. It just put the movies out there. I shouldn't have to wait 76 years
I will-
to watch. The next time I'll be able to watch Sword in the Stone, I'll be 100. I'll be 100 years old.
I will say this. I know a couple people are currently crying because that new Beauty and the Beast trailer premiered.
Emma Watson,
Yeah. And
squee,
now
squee on my end.
you can't buy the animated version. It's nowhere.
Of course it's nowhere because it's now a commodity.
But you know what?
And
now
that's what they do. Every time a story comes out about Arthur and his knights or something relating in any way to Arthur and his knights, I can't see Sword in the Stone ever.
But
am I bitter? Yes, I'm bitter.
Sounds like it.
I don't think you're mad at this at all. You seem very pleased with this cycle here, Josh.
Have you seen The Sword in the Stone, CJ?
Yes, it's a phenomenal movie, and the fact that you can't grab it anywhere, except for illegally.
Movie.
I know,
young boy or girl.
I know what I'm getting Josh for his birthday. That's all I'm hearing.
I don't have a DVD player.
I'm gonna get it.
Copy.
I'm gonna get it, and then you're just gonna have to stare at it, knowing that you can't watch it.
No,
that's the meanest shit anyone has ever said to me.
Go to a flea market and find a VHS.
No, forget away. VHS, because he either has to plug in his Xbox or just stare at it, and he'll have to do one of those two things.
So listen, building upon this, I wanted to take a few minutes because some people have asked for us to. We haven't done an update as to what we're streaming or things that we suggest for each other to watch. So I kind of wanted to open the floor for a minute. And since we're already talking about Netflix, just kind of open Pandora's box and say, what are you guys streaming or what are you beginning to stream? Because Josh, you just said you're stuck. You have to go watch Parks and Rec again. So Josh, let's start with you. What are you currently binging? What are you currently watching?
I am currently binge watching Sons of Anarchy again. I think this is viewing number 6. Wait, how many seasons were there? 6? This is viewing number 7 of Sons of Anarchy. And when we first talked about this topic, we really discussed, we want a lot of different perspectives. So what I did, CJ, and after you guys talk about what you have currently going on, I reached out to a few of my coworkers who are professional commuters like I am. We spend a lot of time in hotels, and a lot of times that means background noise or something to watch on flights, or you're in your hotel room. It's 8:00. You're not watching the hotel TV and you're going to binge watch a bunch of episodes. So a lot of us binge watch a lot of stuff. And I have a few people from work at Square Trade and also a new father who has had recently a lot of time at home. So I have his perspectives as well. But so I am Sons of Anarchy. I just wrapped up both Flash and The Arrow from this year. I also am wrapping up Banshee as well from this season, and I don't know what to start next, but I am considering, and it's just ridiculous that these shows end up in a pile of consideration, but I am considering Scrubs, How I Met Your Mother. I'm considering Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip once again. I'm considering Parks and Rec. That would be the third time in a year because it's that amazing. And I may push forward with The Office. I'm not sure yet. So what are you guys binging?
Brian, I'll turn to you.
I'm not binging a lot. I started and
Overwatch has consumed your entire life.
I'm not even joking. That's exactly what happened. I started trying to get through Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I felt like a horrible fanboy for not watching 3 seasons of a show based on a Marvel
But it's terrible,
thing.
so you abandoned it?
It's got its pitfalls. No, I'm still in the middle of season 2, but then 2 things happened. Uncharted 4 came out, and I played that completely for like 3 days. And then I went on vacation, and now when I come back from vacation, now Overwatch has consumed all that I'm doing when I'm not working. So I've been playing a lot of Overwatch to answer your question.
Okay, so if you were going to stream something right now in a priority list of I really got to watch it, maybe second, Josh told me about this 3 years ago, and I still haven't watched it.
Deadwood.
And maybe third, I don't know why I still haven't watched Deadwood.
I'm halfway through Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, so
you're halfway through one of the greatest shows to have ever aired on any channel ever, is what you just said out loud.
Okay. So I would say I would have to finish the 2 shows that I've started, which is Deadwood and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And after that, I probably am going to either go into Bloodline, which I hear a lot of really good things about, or see if there's any way I can watch Banshee.
You can. I mean, it's Max Go. If you have an HBO Go subscription, you have a Max Go subscription. So
Cool. I'll watch Banshee then.
Banshee is amazing start to finish.
So that's what I'm considering moving
CJ.
forward.
I am in the process of actually wrapping up 2. I am wrapping up Rick and Morty, which is one of the best animated shows I've ever watched. I am catching up on the new season of New Girl. I guess I'm behind for that show. Again, I love it.
Because there's not enough awkwardness in the world as it is.
I love Nick Miller more than I love some relatives who are no longer with me. So, yes, I will watch that show as much as I need to. All right, on my list of things that I put on my list, I have The Path, the HBO original. It's starring Aaron Paul. I watched the first episode, and I just never picked it back up again, so I got that on there. Narcos, I watched episode 1 and bailed, so I'm going to go back into that. Oh, yeah,
but the problem is it's not background noise. You must
watch, and that was my problem. But now I'm in a scenario where I can watch it, so it's back on.
That was one of those hotel shows for me where I sat at the desk. I didn't even sit on the sofa in my suite. I sat at the desk, and I stared at my screen.
Yep. That's what I need to do. For my shows that I need to reinvest in, I'm actually looking into one other. I'm sorry, Workaholics. I'm debating if I should start.
Everybody says they love that, and I'm just not sold.
That's where I am in. So if I have free time and I feel like a chuckle, that's what I'll do. After Rick and Morty, I'll probably put Workaholics into that rotation. I may just start watching The West Wing again because...
don't get me started.
Because I just finished The Newsroom. And I fucking love that show, and I just want more Aaron Sorkin, so I may put The Newsroom back.
Studio 60, man, it's a great solution to Sorkin in a short amount of time.
That's true. It's one season.
You get the best of The West Wing, and not quite all of the polish of The Newsroom. He's still a little rough.
The 2 shows to me that are ambitious, right? The ambitious shows that I know are going to take up the most amount of time is The Path and Workaholics. Those are the 2 that I need to put effort into. Because I can wrap up New Girl and Rick and Morty really quick.
That I need to add to my list. My dad was telling me about this Hulu show, 11/22/63.
James Franco. I heard it's a Franco thing, and that's my problem with it.
I want to watch it. It sounds really good.
I just feel like the writing will go off the rails.
Here's what I need, Brian.
It's based off of a Stephen King novel, apparently.
Yeah, I need you to watch that and tell me if we can watch Franco. If we can get past the James Franco thing, I will absolutely.
And Brian, this can't be a thing where you watch half of it. I mean, you have to.
It's only 8 episodes.
Set aside it. Yeah, I'm saying you have to set aside a day and do it.
Okay, sure.
Tell us, please come back and tell us if that show is worth our time.
Sure, so, we'll do.
I also have some fan feedback, but Josh, I want to hear yours because you sound like you have a phenomenal story.
Well, not a story. I just have a few people that that I communicate with on a daily basis. So these people, to give you guys some background, basically the people with whom I spoke, we cover more or less all of the United States, essentially from Missouri all the way to Maine and all the way down to Georgia. So this is the, I'm going to say, silent majority of commuters, professional commuters in most of the United States. And the new father is West Coast. So I think I have the whole country covered. From the Boston area, we have this guy watching The Shield. And my response to him was, "That's amazing. I love The Shield." He goes, "Yeah, I know. That's why I started watching it." So my boy in Boston is watching The Shield and loving every minute of it. We have from the Baltimore area just finished Americans and The Newsroom. Rewatching Burn Notice because it's something that she really likes. She's caught up on House of Lies, just finished Bosch and The Man in the High Castle. She is, like I am, a hardcore traveler, and she and her husband are capable of watching many things at once.
Did she tell you how Man in the High Castle was? Is this something I need to add to my list?
I told you it's fucking amazing, and yes.
Well, I trust your opinion, but 2 people.
Yes, she liked it too. Everyone likes it. Go watch it.
It's on my list.
And then we have Vikings, and I said, okay, you finished Banshee. I put this guy on to Banshee. He loves it. Finished it. he comes up with Vikings, and I go, oh, what? That's it. Okay, Vikings. That's interesting. Why Vikings? And he said Amazon Prime, and that's so. For you Amazon Prime cord cutters out there, Vikings is a show along with Man in the High Castle and everything we recommended from pilot season last year that you need to watch. From the Bay Area and A New Father, we have Man in the High Castle, The Office for the third time, Vinyl, and Nurse Jackie. So we have a pretty eclectic mix. Loved Vinyl, loved Nurse Jackie, Man in the High Castle again, rave reviews, and this is the third time he's watched the entirety of The Office. And I want you to put that in scope. That's a show that is not. I don't think it's really that far behind The West Wing in length. It was how many seasons, CJ?
Oh God,
it was eight seasons.
8 seasons. So okay, it is. It's half the length of The West Wing in runtime, but as many seasons. West Wing had 7.
The one that I had to are a fan of the show, Jamala, who called in a few weeks ago to talk to us a little bit about Batman vs Superman. I was like, hey man, streaming shows, we're making the list. What do you got? He's like, put The Blacklist on your show list if you've never seen it. James Spader in it is phenomenal. Such a great show. So I want to give a shout out to Jamala. He said, go watch The Blacklist if you haven't seen it. It's great. I would encourage everyone to do the same.
CJ!
God damn it.
Don't you want to know
here?
what I'm streaming, CJ?
Yeah,
I
Bane.
do. Bane, what are you streaming?
What are you
I am
streaming?
streaming many documentaries on Breaking Bats. It's an amazing series.
How many
directed and
documentaries are
written.
made? How many documentaries are made on the breaking of
They are
bats?
all directed and written by me. I have made at least 12 documentaries.
When you make them, are you
don't feed
making
him.
them in the dark or the light?
Oh,
There's no
Josh,
need to.
you would like to think I make them in the light. I do not, sir. I was born in darkness.
But no, there's no need to.
But what if someone? I just got to think in a documentary you would have to use some sort of theatricality, would you not?
Yes, Josh, you are correct. And I know you talked about Now You See Me. I saw a lot of theatricality and deception, which are very fine tools while you're breaking bats.
Well, now we know, CJ, what Bane.
what
CJ,
Bane
do
is
you not
streaming.
find me amusing?
No, I
Do
find
you
you
feel
highly.
in control, CJ? No, CJ.
matter of fact, I
CJ,
don't.
stop. You are awful at everything.
All I do is cut my hands
I am
and talk in the
also
same
going to
voice.
start documentaries on breaking CJs.
Thanks, Bane. I appreciate you as always coming on.
I-
and telling
CJ,
us
you have a
about it.
lovely voice.
There's just no need for this.
I especially like that they were all written and directed by you. That's my
That's the
favorite thing.
best.
Yes, it's very hard to sell a documentary on breaking bats, but the world must see it, Joshua.
Do people misthink that you're going to watch Breaking Bad and you watch Breaking Bats? Is that what happens?
CJ, it's very hard to distinguish the two. I do not think people who are watching Breaking Bats want to watch Breaking Bad.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Bane, yay!
Don't act like you're not happy.
There's a smile on my face.
So in my travels around the internet, I actually came across something that I thought was pretty cool. Speaking of not like a streaming service, but something that's really cool that you can add on to your Amazon Prime account is that Comixology is offering a monthly subscription for unlimited reading of trade paperbacks and comic books. It's $6 a month, and just to get this out of the way right now, you're not going to be able to read Marvel and DC. It's not a whole lot of it's not the big two at all. But some really solid titles from some of the smaller publishers like Image, Dark Horse, IDW, Boom, a couple other things that are really good books and definitely worth your time. Just some of the things that kind of jump out at me when I was reading this article. I mean, if you're an Adventure Time fan, Boom Studios Adventure Time comic is on there. As well as The Boys by Garth Ennis, which is highly entertaining book about a group of normal people. They're a group of Punishers pretty much who go around and kill super people. But the season 8, 9, and 10 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that Dark Horse comic is on there. But something that got me really excited is that you'll be able to read Hellboy and some other pretty awesome
G.I. Joe
saga. Anybody who hasn't read the Scott Pilgrim books, those are on there too. So it's a lot of content.
Lazarus was a pretty popular one too.
Yeah.
There was another. There's another CJ that I know. He was actually telling me about Sex Criminals and how he really liked that book too.
Oh, and
Well, I'm always talking about sex criminals, but it's really more along the lines of you should stay away from these people. They're listed in your neighborhood. You should probably avoid them.
no, Josh. That's an actual comic book that's out there. I would be remiss if I didn't mention The Walking Dead, the comic book.
Spawn
is on there.
Yeah, Spawn's on there as well. But
And
The Walking
Spawn.
Dead and Spawn. So listen, I am not a comic book reader, right? But from what I'm hearing on this, it was $6 a month.
$6
because
a
they
month.
didn't have comic books, Brian, in the MK Ultra facility.
No, I mean, I think he was only allowed to use a newspaper for betting.
Periodicals. We give you many periodicals.
I was supposed to go to the Derek Zoolander Center for children who can't read good and learn to do other stuff good too.
It
but
needs to be 3 times this big.
It was too
At
small,
least
so
three times.
they just never did it.
So, Brian, my big
But this
hang
looks
up,
great for $6.
My big hang up, obviously, is that most people are going to look and go, it's not DC or Marvel. And let's say this is all ship you books, right?
This is digital. This is through Comixology.
So it's digital through
Yeah,
Comixology.
It's an
So
application you put on your phones.
download an app for your iPad, your phone, whatever, and then have access to all of this stuff, the whole library.
Right.
Are any of these titles available from issue 1 to current?
To be honest with you, I haven't downloaded it or I haven't signed up for it yet because I just found out about this. I'm going to look into it. I can definitely get you that answer, but I will say this. I mean, Scott Pilgrim versus the World is only 6 books. If they don't start from number 1, that's kind of dumb.
Well, right. I'm really more like Spawn, Transformers. Like, what series is it? Does it start from number 1? Certainly,
Right.
Not so much for me, but for other people, The Walking Dead. But there are some pretty well published titles in here. Lazarus was a pretty good series. Hellboy certainly has a few iterations, right?
Yeah.
As does G.I. Joe. And are we getting, Archie is in here, right?
Yeah, Archie's in here because, and again, some of these titles like Archie, like Transformers, G.I. Joe have jumped from publisher to publisher.
Right.
So you're just gonna get like the IDW version of Transformers, but from everything that I'm reading, it sounds like you're gonna be able to start from number 1 and move forward. But I will definitely get you a confirmed answer when I download it later tonight.
The Boys by Garth Ennis. That's probably a pretty big draw, right?
Yeah, and it's got a ton of issues too. So I'm definitely going to look further into this for you.
So I was doing that while you guys were talking. I'm reading a couple articles about it, and they say from this one article that I'm reading that only 1 or 2 issues or volumes of each book are available through Comixology Unlimited. So this is a little different. They kind of look like they want you to buy some of the other books. Like it's a your first taste is free kind of thing that you can get hooked into a book and do it. Now, it's not for
There are
all of them.
heroin dealers all over the country doing that right now.
Right. It's not everything on there, but a few books, they only give you 1 or 2 issues or 1 or 2 volumes, and then you have to pay for the full thing. So it's okay. It looks still good. It's still a great way to get started on something, but it's not
It's definitely a good way to get started on something, especially stuff that like is not Marvel or DC that like seemed interesting, but you don't want to spend the money to pick it up. Download this, try it out. I mean, I would imagine stuff like Saga, which is actually pretty critically acclaimed right now, you're only going to get the first couple issues.
But I mean, is $6 a month? Like, is that worth it, or is this like something that?
Well,
if it's a first taste, you can sell as a subscription. $6, you can have these 5 titles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Is this the right way to approach it?
Let's put it this way: a single comic book costs you about $3 to $4. A trade paperback, which collects maybe about 7 to 10 issues, is $15 to $20. So you don't want to spend $15 on a graphic novel for something you don't know you're going to like, but you can spend $6 a month and read the first couple issues.
Good point. That's a great point.
And this also kind of goes into a little bit of, the philosophy that we have as core cutters, right? It's find something that you like, see if it fits you, and if it doesn't, you kill it the next month. So, I mean, even just 1 month and reading even 2 issues of a comic that you've never read before, but you may like, I even see a worthwhile investment in that.
Brian, I want to add one additional question to the questions that Josh needs answered. If you have the app, does it allow you to filter content, right? Because this is something that I would absolutely purchase for Christian.
But there's some mature stuff on there. You don't want him reading boys.
Right. I don't want him reading boys. Right. So,
I don't.
can I filter that stuff?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll double check for you.
I know that iOS allows you to filter publications in general. It's just that I don't know that all applications that have access to publications comply with those restrictions. Like, for instance, you can really see pretty much any video you want if it's linked to through in-app purchasing and things like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some caveats that I would like to avoid my son's exposure to.
So let's do this. Let's mark this for follow-up for next week. And let's see what we have, and we'll have a follow-up section next week, which I think will be great.
I'm so glad you'll think it'll be
so,
great.
Brian, thank you for showing this. I think this looks really interesting. If you guys are into it without having to check out all the other details that we're going to look into, just go to Comixology on your iOS or Android device. There is a desktop version as well, and go ahead and go get the unlimited $6 subscription service. And see what shows up. So thanks, Brian, for bringing this to attention. I think this is a pretty damn awesome, cool thing.
You're welcome, CJ.
Well, guys, that's what we're going to wrap it up for this episode of That Kind of Nerd, with the exception of the Game of Thrones talk, which we're going to do right after this. But I know some of you are going to be leaving us. So 2 things. We want to hear what you guys are streaming. So please give us some suggestions as well. There's a couple great ways to do that. First off, you can get us individually. Our own Twitter handles are in the show notes on the very bottom, so you can find that. So if you want to recommend to one person in particular, go ahead. You can also get us at Twitter at That Kind of Nerd, at Facebook at facebook.com/thatkindofnerd. And there's another cool way you can text us or call us. So yeah, we've opened up to texting now. 484-373-4119. That is 484-373-4119. Also in the show notes, that is a number that you can call, or again, you can text. You can email us as well at podcast@thatkindofnerd.com. So I want to thank you, the fine people, for listening to this week's episode. Go check out your very own Loot Crate. Go to thatkindofnerd.com/loot. That's thatkindofnerd.com/loot, and get some money-saving coupons off for that.
Regarding Loot Crate, I will have or should have an update on the upgraded Loot Crate Power Edition for this month. Next issue, I don't think it's going to arrive until tomorrow. So, upgraded Loot Crate DX, also available from thatkindofnerd.com/loot. You can click the link and you can upgrade, still receive the discount, and still help out the pod by subscribing, even at a one-time deal, to an upgraded crate.
Also, we want to hear your ideas for Fantasy Movie League, and if we should invite you guys to a league. If you're interested in this, if this sounds cool, reach out to us as well. We'll invite you into our league, or we'll make a new league just for you and the fans. So check that out. So I want to thank you guys so much for making us your walk around the neighborhood or your drive to work. It is now time to give you a quick minute if you want to turn off, but we're going to go to Westeros and talk about Game of Thrones. Welcome to the Game of Thrones section of That Kind of Nerds podcast. Okay, I know we had some troubles last week with Game of Thrones talk. Can we take a minute to address what happened that we didn't get to touch?
No, there's no way.
No.
Then fine. That's fine.
I want to say
Okay.
yes, but that's a whole.
Okay. That's fine.
A normal 15-minute segment we recorded 47 minutes on because that's how good that episode was, and now we are all screwed. This episode,
Hold the door.
Can I start with a
that we will
point of order?
we will just call hold the door.
Hold the door.
Point of order. Freaking Monday morning, I walk into work, and Brian and I go for a leisurely walk around the building in the morning, and we go outside, and Brian goes, "Hold on, I'll hold the door." I'm like, I fucking hate you. And it started
like,
with a fight for the
dude.
first like 3 minutes.
He's like, too soon, man.
Too soon, man.
This was the most memeified and GIF represented episode of Game of Thrones I have ever seen from multiple aspects. And Hodor has gotten more notoriety on the internet after his assumed death than I've ever seen. Hodor.
Wait a minute. Assumed death?
You
Assumed?
have to assume.
You don't
they
see
didn't
it.
show
You don't
you.
see it.
They
Oh,
don't
no,
show you.
Come on.
Did
They
you
don't.
see the guy? I don't know if it was a Vine or something. I think it was on Imgur. He's like in a movie theater, and he's just like, "All right, we just went to see Warcraft. It was great, but we're in a rush. We gotta catch the elevator. Hang on, can you hold the door? Can you hold the door for me?" And it's the guy who plays Hodor is in the elevator.
No.
And just gives him this, really, dude? Like, he's like, awkward. He's like, yeah, I'll catch the next one. It's cool. I'll catch the next one.
Just after the East Coast, just after the 9:00 premiere, you had the kid that plays Bran Stark tweet, "Nice one, Bran."
Nice
Yeah.
one, Brian. Oh, it's so good. And then Brian
hate Bran.
and then Brian
I
found
know.
this-
Well, Bran is the root of all bad things.
Hate him.
And Brian found this meme, and it's a picture of Bran, and it goes,
Not everyone can be
should
trusted
allowed
with
root
root access. Right.
So good.
That was a solid right, but we have Hodor. We have pictures. We have pictures of Hodor's face on elevator control panels next to the door open button. We have actual door stops with hold the door and Hodor's
Hodor.
face. Absolutely
I
marketable.
got misty-eyed. This hurt.
Laura watched it a second time and cried, and it was.
And
it
then
was,
and we lost Summer too. And we lost Summer.
we lost Summer. It was an emotional few scenes. Seeing so, just to give some context to those of you who may not have all of the knowledge or have read the books, the way that the green site works is that basically Bran is in a trance, and he should wake up from the trance to control people in the now, and he doesn't do that. So what happens is he's a pretty powerful green seer and an extremely powerful warg, and we've gotten that from the books and the show so far. But Mira is yelling at him that she needs him to wake up and she needs him to warg into Hodor and control Hodor. The problem is that he doesn't wake up. He just from
Like a
from
selfish
the vision,
prick.
from he's not. I'm not sure, CJ. I'm not sure he's aware. I'm not sure he's aware of his powers. I'm not sure he's aware of how far they reach, and I'm not sure he's aware of how many things he can change.
But you heard her say you need to wake up.
I know.
Like, we're
And
all going to die. And he's
I'm
like,
not-
oh, let me stick around.
No, he doesn't stick around. He wargs into Hodor. That's the thing. I'm not sure he's fully aware. I'm not sure that he gets it just yet. And I think that in the next episode is called Blood of My Blood. And I know it's going to have I'm assuming it has going to have a ton to do with the Dothraki. But I think what we saw thematically with Oathbreaker, we're going to see again in Blood of My Blood, in that I think that a lot of people are about to let a lot of other people down. And I think that Bran is going to realize the full depth of his powers and really the damage that they've caused. And the worst part isn't that Hodor is dead. That's not the worst part. The worst part is that Bran saw him as a relatively intelligent and caring young boy, and he's going to figure out that he turns Hodor into Hodor.
Bran broke him.
Yes, he did, and he broke him. But the thing that I was thinking of the whole time, and the question that I don't think will ever get answered is, does Hodor live the rest of his life? Because they're connected, right? The same way that the three-eyed crow was connected to the present and the past. I believe when Bran is in a vision and wargs into that person, I believe they're connected to the present and the past, hence hearing hold the door, the present reaching through to the past. I think that Hodor grows up his whole life knowing that his job, his entire mission, his entire purpose for living is to die to save this boy. He doesn't know who he is.
Oh my God.
And then Bran is born and he knows who he is and he serves the Stark family. And here is again the absolute, the quintessential, sort of the definition of loyalty and honor in the North, again echoed through the Stark house in Hodor, being the stable boy and living to serve and eventually dying to serve the Stark family. And look, you're right, Brian. He broke him, and I believe
Broke him and killed him in like one scene.
Well, yes, but you got to go beyond that. You have to go past that.
I hate him.
In that scene, he didn't just break him and kill him. Yes, he killed him a bunch of years in the future, but you have to wonder if Hodor lived his entire life with that smile and just responding Hodor, because that's all he could say, knowing the whole time this is his purpose.
I hope. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean,
it's incredibly sad. Isn't it?
It's so sad,
and you just shattered the glass for
and
me.
incredibly honorable of Hodor. Oh my God, I can't.
I was just thinking about what a dick Bran was that entire time. I didn't even think about that.
Well, honestly, that didn't enter into my mind. I didn't consider that.
This ties into something that unfortunately was lost in the audio with Craig Newcomb, where he brought up a theory that Bran is basically the Mad King theory, and I think maybe have we talked about this?
Yeah, that was something I read online, and I wanted to discuss. My theory was that Bran is the three-eyed crow. We sort of got that in this episode. It's time for you to become me.
Yep.
And I see here. The problem is I'm not sure if that's a passing of the torch or that's him saying I am you.
I thought it was I am you.
So and if that's the case, I'm glad that I'm crazy and I know way too much about this series. But if that's not the case, then I wonder what, is this a passing of the torch, and is this a title that someone carries with them, like the Black Panther is a title that is passed from generation to generation? I don't know, but the show keeps getting deeper and more ingrained into the storyline while pushing past it. And in pushing past it, I want to move on to the most memeified thing that I've ever seen out of an episode of Game of Thrones. And I giggled like a complete idiot. Tormund Giantsbane staring at Brienne of Tarth like a pubescent moron. This giant grin, her looking at him like, could you not stare? And he's just this giant grin.
If Westeros was an office place, they would be having the sexual harassment talk.
It's awesome. This dynamic between Brienne, who's this giant woman, and Tormund Giantsbane, this is the comic relief that you unfortunately need in a show that just kills everyone you love. So, like, you have to have that. And I've seen more jokes made about this specific scene, this one moment in time, than I have about any other moment on Game of Thrones. I thought it was brilliant. I thought they're doing it.
I've seen, in reference to that, I've seen a bunch of like an Imgur thread with all of that guy who plays Tormund. He does like the Expedia commercials or something like that. And all of these like really kind of like how to woo your lady. And then he's just like, take her to a nice day at the pool. And it's him like on the raft and stuff like that. It's
right.
Like ridiculous stuff. I think it's hilarious. I'm definitely, I'm looking forward to the comedy that follows.
Do those two ever get it on?
No.
Well, in the book, she was dead, or she wasn't
Right,
there,
right.
so-
No, and that's what. I'm asking. What do you think? Do you think
Yes.
these two ever get it on?
Absolutely. I think that
I just think they'll kill one of them before it ever happens. Like as he's about to get his dick out.
I'm not sure, man. I mean, the Brienne of Tarth story is now, it seems to be the way that they've replaced Catelyn Stark as Lady Stoneheart is Brienne of Tarth. So you still have a protector. You still have someone looking out for the Stark children. Even though they didn't do the Lady Stoneheart storyline, they have Brienne of Tarth. And frankly, she's better on screen and probably, I'm assuming, less expensive than Catelyn Stark.
Right.
So it's probably easier to make the show with her. Plus, she can fight and stuff, and Lady Stoneheart would be a ton of CGI and makeup that is just ridiculous. But so I'm interested to see how that plays out. I do think eventually Brienne has to, give in to human nature. I don't see her. I mean, she was always the butt of the joke, and this dude seems to have a genuine interest in her. So you have to think eventually that love interest will play out. You hope it does. And when it does, that's when one or both will die.
Yep.
Like the moment that everything is
The moment
great.
somebody's happy, they die.
Right. The moment she's happy, he will die. And
That's what I'm
hopefully
thinking.
at that point, we see her unleash a barrage of killings unlike we've seen.
You just want that because you have her in the fantasy league, don't you?
I think I may have her in the fantasy league. That notwithstanding, I'm getting just enough points off Euron Greyjoy, Yara Greyjoy, Daenerys Targaryen. Like I have everything.
You're
that
fine.
I am. I drafted well. I did play off the fact that no one in this league, CJ, knows who Euron Greyjoy is, and I did the whole time. So I collected both the Greyjoys as well as all the Sand Snakes. Brian has one.
I have one.
So
of the Fantasy.
here's the other bit of comedy that I thought was funny, and it was just this little beat that I loved, and I'm terrible with names, so I apologize.
Tyrion Lannister.
No. When John leaves the wall, and they're like, "Close the gate," and they look at him, and he's like, "I'm not the Lord Commander." Who
I can't I don't. Is that Grant? No, they killed Grant. I don't know who that guy is.
I don't know his name, but it's just like
you're right. It's inconsequential, and he's like, "No, fucking close it now."
yeah, he's like, "Close the." I'm not the Lord Commander. And he looks around. He's like, "Oh shit, I could be the Lord Commander." Yeah,
Right.
close it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I can give orders. 'Cause
I got it. No, we don't need it. We don't need to hold the election. It's here. I
have
it.
the sword and I have the coat.
I got the coat. John gave me the coat. We're cool with this. Okay. All right. Cool. It's
Yeah.
like accidentally finding out that someone's like, "Hey, can you hold the money for the trip? I don't want to." Yeah, sure. I'll hold the money for the trip. That's cool.
Right. You
but
mean
it's just
whatever's
funny
left
little
over is mine? Yes, I have
Yes.
that title. Sure.
Yep. All right. Cool. I'll take it. Mine.
I don't know if my memory is just bleeding episodes together. Was it this episode where Sansa meets with Littlefinger? Because I thought that scene was awesome. Where
Yeah. With the if you knew what was going to happen, then you're
Right.
no friend of mine, and if you didn't, then you're an idiot type of deal.
that was
yeah.
that was a good scene
That was a great scene.
for all those Sansa fans who really hope she lives this season, which is me.
Gonna die.
I'm scrolling through the notes, and I just saw another 2 minutes into Castle Black and Chill, and he gives you this look. And it's Tormund Giantsbane again. Yes, I believe that was this episode, and I think, like Craig and I talked about last week, that no one will ever hear. There's much more to Peter Baelish than meets the eye. We haven't seen the last of him. He's going to prove himself useful, and once again, return to glory. I have no doubt about it. The thing in this episode that I was the most intrigued by was this super old Red Priestess. Like, you just pray she never takes off her pendant because she's going to be a million years old.
You mean
She'll just be
yes,
dust.
Yes.
Dust, right. Like, she knows everything. She knows about Varys from when he was castrated. She was there, apparently.
That moment.
Oh,
Holy
man.
shit.
His face. Oh, boy.
I've never seen Varys just shit his pants. But
Yes.
Wow.
And
He doesn't
so
wear
her name-
pants, but okay.
Her name is Kinvara. She believes that Daenerys is Azor Ahai, which is what Melisandre was putting Stannis up to be, and now Jon Snow, and I'm pretty sure she's wrong about that too. But I don't really think this Azor Ahai exists, and at the end, all of the Red Priestess will be terribly disappointed. But again, this was the moment in the show that I think has the biggest backstory and possible future story.
So let's also talk a little bit about the White Walkers, because they made a pretty big appearance in this episode.
The creation. We saw the creation of the White Walkers. That we saw the creation of the Night's King by the Children of the Forest. Both those characters, the Children of the Forest and the Night's King, had previously been, surrounded by mystery.
That was like the biggest Kalima moment of this entire show.
Yeah, that was something. Seeing that was pretty cool.
Did you just make a Temple of Doom reference?
Yes, I did.
Okay, just
watch what she did. She basically did that just with a foreign object.
The Kalima, he took the heart out.
Right. I get you.
I just need the
But I was fast at how quickly they could get there just by, they know where Bran is, and boom, here we are.
Well, no, that's a different story. See, so you have Bran who does a vision into all of the White Walkers gathered, and the Night's King grabs him by the arm. And when he comes out of the vision, he's left with ice on his arm, and now this guy knows where he's at, and that's, again, here's Bran, the root of all bad things. But
yes.
the origin story has the Children of the Forest basically tying a man to the weirwood and shoving an object. Some people say dragonglass. I don't see how dragonglass creates him. If dragonglass is what kills him, I think it's more of a tree particle. The Children of the Forest have these. What it reminded me of was the Rise of the Guardians, and the Jack Frost has these ice things that explode. That's what their little.
Did you just reference Rise of the Guardians?
That's a good movie. Shut up, CJ.
It is a good movie, and yes, that's what. So like they have these little that will look like little tree balls, right? These little balls of wood and leaves that
be a Dookie bombs from
are
Zelda.
like they're either ice or fire or both, and I'm not sure. All of the we don't have a real backstory on the Children of the Forest, so this is interesting. Again. I don't think it has as many ties into different areas of the world as the Red Priestess does, Kinvara, but this specific story is interesting that the Night's King and essentially the White Walkers were created to protect the Children of the Forest from man.
And yet they're the reason why they're dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, they do the exact opposite.
They kill them.
Right. Yeah. Well, right, but
they've gone beyond what they were made to do.
It's just Frankenstein's monster, right?
Exactly. I was just about to make that analogy. It's just turning the tables around on him. There was so much going on in the last two episodes because again, we lost that conversation. I'm so worried for what's coming next because I'm just expecting more people that I love to die really quick. This season is making no problem with shortening that cast list that you're familiar with and getting some new characters in there. Plus, the stuff happening with Arya right now is so goddamn interesting. Like, I just want to know more.
Well, she's just becoming a faceless man.
I know, but like now you're seeing the inside ceremonies. You're hearing about the first stories about the first faceless men. I mean,
there are quite a few memes regarding Jack and Hagar, and a girl has no name, or that kind of stuff. Again, this show is completely permeating popular culture all over the internet and just taking over, which leads me to question, CJ, the people that that don't watch the show in real time must live incredibly cloistered and awful lives.
Listen, and I'll be honest, even if you look at the internet now, if you can get past the first 48 hours, you're golden.
I disagree completely.
I think of How I Met Your Mother. They just
not this season.
I hear you. They tell me 48 hours.
You can look. There's nowhere you can look.
Listen, it's not from me. It's not my theory. They're telling me get past the first 48 hours. You're fine.
They're lying.
I would not want to live every week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in fear.
There are people who don't who don't.
They
go
live in
online for
fear.
everything.
They can't go on anything.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm not advocating that this is the way it's done. We also have to do it this way because this is just how we record. So I mean, like, we just happen to work out for them anyway.
So I think the last thing that really struck me as cool was Daenerys commanding that Jorah find a cure and return to her. And again,
You want to talk about someone's going to be disappointed? That's
Right,
not going to happen.
right. It seems like it's an impossible task. And
The night
essentially,
of the friend zone is going to have some hard times.
the night of the friend zone, solid, yeah, and that's exactly what he is. But it's her again reaching out, saying, I don't want to be without you. So again, giving him the hope he needs to continue living, which is a common theme in Jorah Mormont's life.
Is this the first time he said that he's loved her like that?
Out loud, yes.
Yes.
To her.
And
Yes.
again, no reaction from that. Night of the friend zone.
Well, how's she going to react? She doesn't love him that way.
I get
She
that.
doesn't see him that
It was like when you type
no
it
acknowledgement is, well, I can go find a cure.
You know what she did? It's when you type that iMessage, that really risky one. It just says read, no response. That's what she did to him.
You get the 3 dots for 30 seconds, then they disappear, and you're like, what?
So what were we gonna say? What were we gonna say? You were gonna say something. It's very true. So,
Shut up! Don't act like either of you are familiar with that feeling.
No, I'm not familiar.
That's what I thought.
I can't empathize. Is that not allowed?
I'm sorry, Brian. Here is the moment every few episodes where Laura goes, "Oh, Brian."
Ladies, I'm just saying you can end Brian's turmoil in this 3-dot forever and
Stop!
just
Stop!
I'm just saying that cat to meal ratio shouldn't scare you at all. You're okay.
It is very low.
Breakfast and apple shopping. I'm just saying, guys.
Yes. I am a surveyor of fine fruits.
A purveyor, even.
Yeah, in fact, a purveyor. Yes, that's the word I meant.
So let's do this.
Oh, that Hodor scene.
What is in store for the next episode? What do you think, Josh? You sound like you've got a small theory.
Well, I do. The next episode title is "Blood of My Blood," which is we were introduced to that in season 1 with the Dothraki, and that's sort of how they address each other, right? The most endeared sort of reference you can call someone is "Blood of My Blood." We're family, and I think it's because of that theme in the title that we're going to see just a whole lot of people let down, and I think someone's going to die that we don't want to see die. And this is episode 6 of 10. So we're entering the back half, hopefully with a bang. Just this season has already been so ridiculous, and there's more in store. And I feel like this title is incredibly ominous, to answer your question, CJ. Yes.
So here's what we need from you, the fans. We want to hear some theories. We want to hear your reaction to episodes. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can call us at 484-373-4119. You can also text that number as well if you're a texter. You can email us your Game of Thrones rants, theories, or just telling us how wrong we are about something. That's quite okay. At GOT@thatkindofnerd.com or Game of Thrones. Pick one. We do both. GOT is just a lot less to type. And you can also reach to us on our personal Twitter
The title
handles.
of last episode was called The Door. I didn't see that until just now, and now
I thought you knew that.
Now
I hadn't looked, and just because, and I think the reason it didn't stick is because episode 4 was Book of the Stranger. Last one was The Door, and I went, that has no significance to me of any kind, and I just deleted it from my memory. And then, of course, damn it, Hodor.
Well, it's okay. We'll miss you, Hodor, and we're going to take you out now with that wonderful cat singing the Game of Thrones song. Thank you. Thank you so much for making us your walk around the neighborhood or your drive to work. Tell us what we need to know about Game of Thrones. I know you got theories out there, people. Share them with us. GOT@thatkindofnerd.com. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good rest of the day. So much. By the way, did you love that thing I did with my mom today?
Yeah, don't ever make like an off-color joke. It wasn't like a mom joke. It wasn't like oh, your mama this. It was like my buddies, when we were kids and somebody would say something, you'd be like, oh, your mother does, right?
Right. Yeah.
And CJ asked who has a picture of the Loot Crate, and I said, your mother. And I put up the zoom, zoom, zoom Scrubs, GIF. And he calls his mother and is like, hey, Mom, just record a video saying, Josh, no, I don't, in the most ridiculous tone. And does.
It's actually worse than that. I was sitting across from her.
You were not.
I was with my mother. Absolutely. I was with my mom having lunch.
Well, at least I didn't say anything lewd. It was just your mother does.
In my day.
So terrible. Like the worst I've ever been mic dropped ever.
It was so great. Anyway, that was phenomenal.